Hello, you amazing people. Welcome back to RX Memes. Thank you so much to my first 3 commenters in my last video. I love you guys. And the question of the day, which made me laugh. Today, I want to know what your fake health news generator would be. So take your eye color, the first letter of your first name, birth month, and the first letter of your last name. Or if that's too much information, use the first letter of a nickname. And mine would be putting the frequency of love in your underwear fixes back pain. I believe it. I would like to try that actually. I have quite a sore back right now. Probably because I'm sitting hunched over trying to record videos all night. But that's okay. It's worth it. I love you guys. Tonight we're going to be jumping into r/MaliciousCompliance and let's get right on into it. How to get an aircraft boarding gate removed. I have worked in aviation for nearly 20 years, from small airports to large commercial hubs. Like any industry, it is full of type A personalities and those promoted up to their respective level of incompetence. To protect those involved, I will not name the airport or the company I worked for. At the time this story occurred, I had worked my way up in a company that is contracted to pump the fuel into aircraft at one of the busiest airports in the US. My job was the supervisor in charge of fuel quality and safety adherences. The airport I worked at was growing as it went from middle of the pack to being in the top 10 for total operations in about 3 years. As such, there was, and still is, a lot of construction going on in order to have more gates and parking areas. This has involved restriping the gates and adding more jet bridges onto the existing terminal. This usually is a pain, but works for the most part when there is only so much room to work with. For fueling, a hydrant system is commonly used as it is far faster and more convenient than having tanker trucks go up to every plane. Instead, a piece of equipment is staged at each gate and hooks up to a pit in the ground where fuel is delivered directly from the storage tanks and can be pumped to the plane. These are large underground pipes, and once in place are rarely, if ever, moved. If you move your gate, that pit stays put and isn't as conveniently located as it first was. Might be too far away from the plane, might be under the plane, etc. When the airport authority decided to add a new gate at the end of a terminal, I was invited to the meeting thanks to my position. I guess I was expected to just sit and nod or something, since every time I pointed out that the new gate would put the pit under the jet or on the wrong side, I was basically told, "We will make it work," or "This is the only way we can do it." After being shut down a few times, I gave up. 4 months of construction to expand the passenger waiting area and attach a jet bridge brings us to the first day of use. There is a ribbon cutting ceremony and the first arrival is brought into the gate. The fueler calls me because he doesn't like how he had to run hoses and wants me to sign off on his solution. I pull up and see that the pit is under the left engine. 737 fuel panel is on the right wing, so he has to run the pit hose under the fuselage, which is full of passengers. This hose is a 3-inch inner diameter and is capable of delivering around 800 gallons per minute. Equipment slows that down as appropriate per aircraft. Should a tug or anything hit that line, it will get bad and fast. I say there is no way we can use that pit, and there isn't another one to choose from. I advise the airline and they say, "Use a truck then." I responded, "We can't. The jet is within 20 feet of a wall of the terminal and we can't get a truck in front. If we are behind the jet, we will block the taxi lane and no aircraft are getting in and out of 8 gates. We can't safely fuel an aircraft at this gate." Well, you can imagine how this went over. Within 15 minutes, I have the highest level person in town for the airline, the airport duty manager, who brought a couple of airport police with him for some reason. My GM and the manager for the baggage loaders all at the gate. I explain the issue and state that I will not allow fueling as it isn't safe to run pressurized jet fuel under an aircraft and that the pit is underneath the engine itself. Both of these violate numerous regulations. My GM looks at it and agrees. The airline head starts yelling and the duty manager says he will have the fire department come and look, and if they say it is good, we are responsible to fuel. Fire battalion chief comes up, hears the issue and walks over to look. He then gets a rolling wheel measure and walks it from the pit to the building and then back to his truck. He comes back with a red flag and puts the pit permanently out of service as it was too close to the building. He tells everyone that as he sees it, there is no way to legally fuel at that gate as it is too close to the building and the fuel truck would block a fire escape path. For the next 2 months, the airline used the gate as overflow with no fuel. meaning they had to bring the plane in with enough fuel already or fuel it out on a cargo stand. Then it was cordoned off and demolished, and then old lines were restored. Not sure how many millions that cost, but it had to be a few. This is such a great example about why all ideas are supposed to be brought up at like roundtable discussions. They could have saved so much time, so much hassle, so much money just by listening to that guy. Oh my gosh, this is great. This is so great. I was told to change my username on Quora, so I changed it, but not the way they expected. I was looking up something on Quora when I noticed that I wasn't allowed to comment simply because my username wasn't an actual name. It went like this: "You have been blocked from contributing to Quora because your name does not comply with our name policy. Please update your profile to use your real full name in more translucent print. If you are already using your real name, please submit a moderation appeal through the contact form." Me, being someone who would rather be creative with her usernames instead of using my real name, I wasn't very happy about this. Also, I don't feel like submitting a form just to keep my edgy username that I use for my YouTube account, so I decided to comply and change it from edgy username 13 to "You're Real," and the description has just full name. Pointless? Maybe, but it beats letting people know my last name. Update: they flagged my name as not official. Oh well, screw them, I'm keeping it. Don't adjust the schedule. Used to be a deli manager for Walmart. Us managers could see the schedule a week before associates. I'd make adjustments and whatnot, more consistent coverage. If there were glaring oversights, I brought it to the attention of someone higher up, so he or she could add hours. I never added hours in my adjustments. Being able to do so was above my pay grade. The second in command gets wind of my changing the schedule. I argue why I do it, and she is steadfast. Don't change the schedule. About 2 weeks later, I see the schedule for a Thursday. Person A, 6 to 3. Me, 7 to 4. And that's it. I email the second in command and want to make sure about the "don't change the schedule." She confirms. I'm sure you know where this is going. The deli's usual hours were 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. It takes about 2 to 3 hours to give the deli the cleaning it needs after closing. So to give the deli the cleaning it needs, I close the deli at 1 p.m. Number 1 walks by around 1:45. The store manager: "What the hell's going on? No rotisserie chickens going? No hot bar food? I'm getting reports you're closed." Me: "Schedule, blah blah blah. Second in command, blah blah blah. Here's a hard copy of the email, blah blah blah. Turn everything back on, we'll call people in." The number 2 in command was transferred 2 weeks later. You want a refund for as much as I'm allowed to give? Okay, will do. I worked at Netflix for a few months from August last year to February this year. It was customer service, so it was basically a hell of elderly people calling for various stupid reasons. One thing that happened constantly was people opening accounts by accident and not closing them. Most often, it was an old person who forgot their password, so instead of recovering it, they would just make a new account each time it happened. The policy when I worked there was, if they had watched even a minute of Netflix on an account, we could only refund the last 3 months charged no matter the age of the account. If they hadn't watched Netflix, we could credit up to 6 months. If they had a single minute of Netflix used in the past month, we were only allowed to credit 1 month, and no refund at all if they tried to cancel within a week of their billing date. We also were told not to refund anything if we weren't explicitly asked for a refund. My last week at the job, I didn't care about their rules much. If someone forgot they paid for Netflix and seemed genuine or like it was a true mistake, I'd just refund as much as the system would allow me to credit, even if it was technically going against our rules, the full 6 months. So one day in the last week, I have some old man calling. He inadvertently made a new account for each device he had for Netflix. So he had like 5 to 6 accounts, each with near daily use. He was generally pleasant, so I decided I'd offer him as much as the system would allow, instead of the 1 month that we were supposed to do if asked. So I tell him that I can credit back the last 6 months of each of the accounts he wishes to cancel. This causes him to become livid. I've had these fucking accounts for over a year and you're going to damn refund me the full amount I'm owed. And stuff like that being spewed at me for the next minute or so. Eventually, he demands to talk to my manager because he thinks that they will be able to refund him the full amounts. The fun part now is the supervisors followed every rule to the word, So I had the pleasure of getting my supervisor on the line, who ended up telling him that they could only refund a max of 1 month per account. So he lost out on 5 months per account of possible refund money, all because he decided to act like a dick and throw a tantrum. Side note, I've had to call Netflix like 3 times, and every single time I've talked to the most amazing person or people. I feel like Netflix does a really good job of hiring customer service people. Alright everybody, that's it for tonight's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I will see you for 2 more videos tomorrow. And as always, my social medias are on the screen. I love to hear from you if you want to reach out. And also, I am so grateful that you are watching this and that you made it this far. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!